So for today, I'm gonna do two panfish poppers. These are both painted, waterproofed. Both are blue. One's blue, a little bit of red as well. Gonna be using some hackle that I got at Cabela's. Got blue for one, red for another. Marabou for one of them. And some rabbit strips, blue and white. For this one here, the thread I'm using is Superfly, Super Thread, flat, 6/0. Dark blue for one. The other one is going to be Orvis 10/0 red. So for this one, very first thing we're going to do, as usual, going to get our thread on there. Snip off the excess. Now, panfish flies can be really unique. Pretty much anything you want to throw on them, you can. For this one, I'm using, like I said, some rabbit strips. Now what I'm going to do, this here is your regular rabbit strip. I've used most of it. What I'm going to do is pull the ends of it together and set it on top of the fly. Now all the skin is here. I just have the ends of it. Now that looks pretty good right there for me. So I'm gonna tie it in. Gonna cut off rabbit strip there, and just tie them down. Next, going to take my hackle, have my hackle pliers here, so I'm going to grab the end of it. Now what you want to do, you want to pull back on them fibers. That's going to spread them out a bit. Take my hackle, I'm going to tie it in. Start the back, move it to the head. Now I got it tied in. Whoop. Undo a little of that. I guess I didn't have it tied in. We're going to pull off some of these fibers and make that stem a bit. There we go. Alright, let's try it again. I'm going to tie it in there. There we go. I set up to the front. Now I got that hackle in there. I'm going to go around it. Round it again. I'm going to keep doing this and move up ever so slightly every time until I get to the head of the fly. One more. Get as much in there. Now I'm pulling it forward towards the eye of the hook, coming around, and basically tying in the hackle. Cut off the rest of that hackle there. Now you see I got a few fibers going forward. That's alright. Just pull those back a bit. Go around, tie it in a little more. Then all we're going to do is loop it in. Make a loop with the finger. Come around, tie it in. Do that a couple times. Now I've caught bluegill on these, I've caught perch on these, yellow perch. I've caught largemouth and smallmouth bass. This is more of a warm water lure than it is a trout lure. I'm going to take my little dubber here, pull back the hackles so I can see the thread, and put some head cement on that thread. I'll do that another time. Same thing, pull everything back, put a little head cement on there. Do one more loop there. Oops. Got caught on the front. Just push that back. There we go. Cut off my thread. And there you have it. Now you can do marabou on the back, you can do flash buoy, you can do hackles, you can do different colors of any type of feathers you want. You can use deer hair, elk hair, moose hair, bear hair, anything you want on the back. But you gotta remember, this is a pretty small little popper. So most of the fish that are gonna be eating this at the bigger size are gonna have some decent sized bass, but for the most part you're gonna be catching smaller sunfish with it. Alright, so like I said earlier, I got two poppers for you. This one, as you can see, has a little bit of red in the butt here and red on the front. I'm going to show you how I usually do my flies. I don't use the rabbit strip for most of them. Most of them I use marabou as a material. Has better flow in the water. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie in my thread. Like I said, I got Orvis 10-aught for this one. It's red, changed from blue to red. So I'm going to tie her on, cut off the excess. I'm going to take my marabou. I have both red and blue. I'm going to measure out roughly how far back I want it. I think that's pretty good right there. Just tie that in. There we go. Snip off the excess. And just do a couple more, hold it down, do a couple more wraps. Get it secure in there so that's not coming out. And what I'm going to do now for the hackle, which I use Cabela's Strung Rooster saddle, different colors. I'm going to use a red one and looking for a good blue one here. Go with this one here. Red and blue. Going to do dye color, I guess. 2-color hackle. Now, when I do panfish poppers, when I do get them at Cabela's, Bass Pro, and it generally comes as the body is simply just a white body. I go to Hobby Lobby and just buy regular paint that you'd use for kids school project. I then paint them and then give them good shellacking, waterproofing over them, and they've worked for me for I don't know, maybe 8-9 years. Catching bass, catching bluegill, perch, and nothing's really taken off any of the paint or any of the colors, and I've never had to retie one, so must be doing something right. So I pulled off a bunch of the fibers for the hackle. Just gonna lay them on top there and tie them in. Like I said, grabbed them with my hackle pliers here, and I'm just going to go up and around and just move it slowly towards the head here. Maybe do one more loop. There we go. It's going to be good. Pull it towards the eye of the hook. And then with my thread, tie in the excess there. Get it secured. Cut off the excess of the hackle. Got one. There we go. Pull the fibers back. Make sure it's good and tied in there now. Do a couple whip finishes here. Okay, going to take my fly tying cement, dip a little bit in there, pull the hackles back so I can see the thread. It's alright if it gets on the hackles down at the base there. It's alright if it gets on the popper body as well. Do one more. Pull everything back. There we go. One more little whip finish there, on top of all of it. There we go. Cut off the excess thread. Oops. And there you have it. 2 poppers using 2 different materials, using the rabbit strip for the blue one, simple marabou for this one. And that right there, it's like I said, going to be used for bluegills, bass, pretty much going to be warm water fish, not really used for trout that much. Don't know why it wouldn't catch a trout, but yeah.